Okay, Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Fudel Mahabatan, and today I'd like to demonstrate and show my latest project, which is Murrotal Radio. So this is my second KOD project. So here I basically made an application called Rawdo, which means garden in Arabic, and this is basically a radio app but for Al-Quran. So you can play like some kinds of surah and then you can change the surah. So here is the home screen, is the loading screen, guys. So this is the loading screen, the splash screen that you will first see when you load the app. And then it's made of a few components, as you can see here. And this is for the design, so it's just black and then the Raudo logo and also the description. So Raudo Al-Quran Radio. Then this is for the block here. So basically this means that when I first open the screen here, so when it's initialized, the clock here, it's gonna be enabled. So the timer will start. And then when the timer finished, or here basically, when the 3 seconds finish, it's gonna open another screen. And then the screen name is home, which is this screen. So this is the screen here. It's a bit untidy, but I'm gonna show it later. So this is the screen, the Rodo screen. So as you can see here, it has the surah name, the Qari name, the duration, the slider, the previous play, and next button. And also this is for the cover. At the start it's empty because it's gonna be adjusted according to the surah that you're gonna use. Yeah. So every time you press next, it's gonna change the surah, the name, the Qari, and then also the duration. And that's also what's happened when you press the previous button. Moving on to bulks, here is the code. It's a little bit confusing, so let me break it down for you. So here, when home initialize, or basically when this screen is loaded, it's gonna set the timestamp slider, basically this slider, the minimum value, it's gonna set the minimum value to 0. Then after that, it's gonna call Ganti Surah. Ganti Surah is a function that I made here so that you can swap between the surahs by pressing the previous or the next buttons. Here, moving on to the code, here we have when play pause button click. So when this button is clicked, if the player one or the audio player is playing, then it's gonna make the player one pause, and then it's gonna set the clock timer enabled to pause. And then the icon will change to play button because it's paused. And then it's gonna show a notification at the bottom that says audio is paused. Likewise, if it isn't playing, yeah, if else, then it's gonna play start, and then it's gonna set the timer to true. So the timer of this, yeah, it's gonna be true, it's gonna be moving, and it's gonna change the image of the button into the pause button, and it's gonna show the notification audio is playing. Then when the audio has been finished, it will automatically change the play pause button image to play button, so it's gonna become play because you finished the surah. And then for the time slider, so when you press it, so when you stop pressing it, it's gonna stay in that position and it's gonna slowly move. And then this is for touch up. So basically when you want to seek or change the position, for example, I drag it from here to here, and then it's gonna change the time slider thumb position and set the clock timer to true. So it's gonna be moving when you like go and move the timer. And then this is the clock timer. So for the timestamp, so if the surah is playing, then it's gonna set the max value into the duration. So the maximum value of this is gonna be adjusted according to the duration of the surah. For example, there's one that's 9 minutes, there's one that's below 30 seconds, and also more. And for the timestamp slider, the time position is going to be according to the current position. So this position, this circle position, will adjust according to where it is. It's going to be adjusted. And then after that, it's going to set the current time. This is the current time. This is the maximum duration. It will be set to change the format. So the format of the time, both the total and the current time, will be set to the format date, minutes, and seconds. And the way it gets is to get it from like milliseconds. So the milliseconds from the current position and the duration will be filtered out to make minutes and seconds. And then if other than that, then the clock timer will be set into false. Now we're gonna move on to this, the Gandhi surah that I mentioned before. So this initializing is basically to make like a variable or a global setting in the entire app. So there's here make list. So it's gonna list like the surah, for example. The first is Al-Hashr, and then if you press next, it's gonna go to Al-Najm and then Al-Asr. And then it's also gonna change the core name. So from Yazid Al-Dosari, Sheikh Abdullah Awad Al-Juhayni to Mishar Rashid Al-Lafasi. And then it's gonna, of course, change the cover also according to the surah name and also the audio here. And then this is for the function, guys. So it's gonna change the surah name and the Qari name by getting the global surah list. So every time we press this button, it's gonna add +1 to the index, and then it's gonna change the surah and also the Qari name. And it's gonna also change the cover picture according to that. Then it's gonna stop the current player one. It's gonna stop the current surah, and then it's gonna change the source into the global audio list. So for example, if I press it twice, it's gonna go to Al-Asr. So for example, if it was a Hashr playing, then it's gonna be stopped, and then it's gonna move to Al-Asr, and then after that it will start. And this is for the next and previous button. So basically, the global index is like for explaining to when I press next, like I mentioned before, the global index, it will change and be added +1. And if it is bigger than the length of the list, so if it is bigger than this list, then it will get the current the global surah list, and then it's gonna set the global index to 1. Likewise with the previous one, except if it is smaller than the global index, then it will call ganti surah. But this is gonna reduce 1. So now after this, I'm gonna show you the demonstration of my application. Let's go.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
سبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. ما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
والنجم إذا هوى ما ضل صاحبكم وما غوى وما ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين.
بسم الله الرحمن
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن